A deal closes, a syndication exits. Capital that's been working for 3, 5, 7 years comes back to you. Most investors don't know what to do next. This moment happens more than people talk about. And the decisions made in the weeks after a deal exits, whether the capital gets redeployed quickly and thoughtfully or sits idle and loses ground, can make an enormous difference in long-term outcomes. I want to talk about what the smartest investors I've worked with do in that moment. The most common thing that happens after a deal exits is this. The investor feels a sense of relief and freedom. That capital is back. There's no pressure to do anything right away, so they wait. They put the money in a savings account earning 2 or 3% while they figure out what's next. They tell themselves they're being careful, that they won't rush into anything. And that's reasonable. But here's what most investors don't calculate. Every quarter that capital sits uninvested is a quarter of compounding that does not happen. At our rates, $500,000 sitting idle for 6 months instead of invested at 10% is roughly $25,000 in returns that simply did not exist. Waiting feels safe, but idle capital is not neutral. It's losing ground to inflation while the next investment has not started yet. The investors I've watched build the most consistent wealth over time have one habit in common. They have a plan for their capital before the deal closes. They're not scrambling to figure out what to do after the money arrives. They know where it's going the day the wire hits. It's already earmarked. That requires knowing your options well before you need them. It requires having relationships with operators you already trust. So the decision is not starting from scratch. It's executing a plan you already made. The investors who've been with us for years do not think of each deal in isolation. They think of their capital as something that's always working. When one investment matures, the question isn't whether to reinvest, it's where. Freedom Notes is built for exactly this kind of capital moment. When a syndication exits, the capital coming back is usually a significant lump sum. It might be $200,000, $500,000 or more. It needs to go somewhere that will put it to work immediately, at a return that reflects its size without requiring the investor to manage another project. Freedom Notes starts generating returns from the day it's funded. On the income track, you begin receiving quarterly distributions immediately, cash deposited to your account 4 times a year without you doing anything. On the growth track, your returns begin compounding from day one. There's no lease-up period, no renovation timeline, no waiting for stabilization. You fund, it works. And if the capital coming back from your prior deal is at tier 2 or tier 3, meaning $100,000 or more, you're in the range where Freedom Notes generates returns of 10 to 14% annually. That's the rate that serious investors take seriously. And I want to bring up something that does not always come up in the financial conversation. When a deal exits well, when you get back what you invested plus meaningful returns, there's a real temptation to reward yourself, to take that capital and do something with it that feels like a win. There's nothing wrong with that in moderation, but the investors who build generational wealth are the ones who take a portion of every exit and put it directly back to work before they spend any of it. Not because they're not enjoying their success, because they understand what compounding over decades actually produces. One of the most powerful things you can do the day a deal exits is to have already decided what percentage goes to reinvestment before the money arrives. In our next video, we talk about how to think when someone else is offering you a higher return, what to ask, what to look for, and how to evaluate whether more yield is actually more value. If you have a deal approaching exit and you want to understand where Freedom Notes fits in your next chapter, go to chatwithfreedom.com. Let's have that conversation before the wire arrives. I hope this was helpful, and I hope we have the opportunity to work together.